आपादमौलिपर्यन्तं गुरूणां वाक्कृतिं स्मरेत्येन विघ्नप्रणश्यन्ति च मनोरथः लक्ष्मीतनोतुनितरामितरानपेक्षमङ्गृद्वयं निगमशाकिशिखा प्रवालं भैरम्बम् अम्बुरुहडम्बरचौर्यनिघ्नं विघ्नाद्रिभेदशतधारधुरन्धरः सर्वेषां स्वागतं. This is the positive psychology session for the 23rd shloka. So the concept that we are exploring is called as disassociation. So disassociation is a little more complicated than detachment. Detachment is not just to get rid of the attachment. Attachment is that moha that we are getting rid of. Disassociation is to completely ignore the existence itself. Like when we think about from terms of Bhagavad Gita, it is ध्यायते विषयान् पुंसः संगस्तेषु उपजायते संगात् संजायते कामः कामात् क्रोधोऽपि जायते क्रोधात् भवति सम्मोहः सम्मोहात् स्मृति विभ्रमः. So in this line of thought, when we look at attachment, it is moha, sammoha. So we are going a little more back. That is from the progression we are devolving, coming back. So disassociation with any thought. Specifically here we are in terms of positive psychology, we are separating ourselves from negative thoughts. So negative thoughts can be anything that makes us worry, anything that makes us sad, anything that makes us. Now here we are not saying that awareness should be reduced. That is, there is something bad happening, I cannot be ignorant of that particular element and disassociate myself. That is escapism. So here disassociation strictly refers to detachment and decentering and disengagement. There are three aspects of it. So detachment, because we have developed a certain attachment to certain aspects of life, we are trying to reduce our dependence on that. This is detachment. Decentering, while I am trying to reduce that particular dependence on some element, I am also trying to identify how that has altered me. Like for example, it has made me more dependent, it has made me more competitive, something like that. There would be a change in my attitude, there would be my change in the base well-being. So I'm trying to notice what is that particular change that has brought about due to that attachment, and I'm trying to revert. So in this case, revert doesn't exactly mean coming back to the same self before attachment occurred. It is to retain the sattva, but to bring sattva here we are talking about the good element. So something has made me more punctual. Now dependence on alarm clocks doesn't necessarily mean I can't be punctual. Being punctual is good, but dependence on alarm clock must be reduced. Like for example, on my cell phone or on a clock, wherever it may be, where I'm keeping an alarm, that is an external source. So reducing that particular dependence would be successful only if I keep up with punctuality, and then because my dependence on alarms or reminders in cell phones has allowed me to become more punctual in something. So that is a good element. Now I need to reduce the dependence on these things, but then retain the superior quality I have achieved in myself. So that is decentering. And then when we achieve decentering, we have to understand disengagement. That is completely shift from the thought of having an external help. That is with respect to alarm itself, when I decenter myself, that is when I have achieved the level of punctuality that I needed or has been recorded due to dependence on alarms, without the use of alarms or reminders. Now I have to completely let go of that negative stimuli. That means even when a alarm occurs, even when a particular somebody else is keeping an alarm, maybe, right? So when that occurs, it will not have an effect on me. It should not have an effect on me. So the process is something like, okay, um, I want to wake up early. I want to develop a certain routine. Uh, I want to develop a exercise routine maybe for physical fitness. So I get up early at 5 and then I go and I exercise. Exercising is a good thing. Now, in this process, what I have done, I have used external stimulus like alarms, reminders, somebody waking me up, etc., 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 to initiate that activity. Now I have become dependent on it. If somebody doesn't wake me up, if I don't keep an alarm, etc., etc., I'm not able to complete that task. So now I have to first detach myself. When I say detach, I should stop keeping the alarms. I should stop asking people to wake me up. Then decentering. I have to achieve what I did achieve during that period when I was dependent on it. That is, I should still be able to go through my daily processes of physical fitness, activities, etc., etc., without somebody waking me up. So this is decent. After I do that, then I have to, then even if somebody wakes, even if, let us say now, let us say I'm shifting from a system of coexistence, maybe I'm in a PG or something like that. So there somebody else is dependent on the alarm. Okay. Maybe even in my household, somebody else is keeping an alarm for some other thing. For some other reason also, there may be an alarm or some kind of reminders that is kept. It should not affect me, as in it should not influence me to go back to keeping alarms again. So that is complete disengagement. There is no relationship, even if it is like these addictions. Addiction is truly de-addiction takes place truly only when, even in presence of the same stimuli that had allowed me to cultivate that addiction, I remain completely neutral to it, disengaged. So that is a way of disassociation. It works very well with respect to certain habits that we have, like watching shots on YouTube, which has become very addictive because we open YouTube for some informative content and we keep going through shorts without realizing that we are losing time. So, for many of these addictive nature, how do we get rid of that addiction? It is through this three-step process, and this cultivates a disassociation. So this one particular concept has been shown when we say the tyajet, when the particular karmas have to be given up. Because here we are not saying don't cultivate karmas, don't perform them. We are saying that perform them, but when the time has come to go on a new path, we need to change ourselves and then we need to give up those particular budhaihi tyajyam. Those people who are truly wise, they don't worry about this sin and all those things, and they are ready to give up. So that readiness is what we need to cultivate. It's not bad to be dependent on certain things, but there is a limit to every dependence, and there is a time where the dependence needs to be cultivated and it needs to be disengaged. So within that framework, it has to act. So keeping that in mind, we need to cultivate our habits. So when we know that there are certain habits that we are not able to change, so this three-step process, first step is basically stop our dependence on it. That's all. So here we are taking the karana, we are not taking the end result. Like for example, when in the previous example, I said the point was to perform daily exercises or cultivate a fitness routine. Nobody is saying that we shouldn't do. The point is to start with something that is making me dependent or for that performance itself. So alarms, reminders, etc., all these things, they have made me dependent. This is something that I need to do. Cultivating a fitness routine is something that I need to do, something that I am doing, something that I want to do. But to do that, what I'm doing is I have like for example, when we have this binging nature, what we do is we immediately cannot get the proficiency that is required. How do I put this now? Now, because of the Google trends, what we usually do is let's take the example of a YouTube this thing itself. Now, I need to open my YouTube app to find certain content. That certain content is very important for me. Now, when I'm going through that, what I do, I open it and I just start scrolling through YouTube Shorts, for example. That YouTube Shorts is consuming a lot of my time, and it is cultivating a sense of addiction over there because I keep watching it one after the other. I don't know where to stop, etc., etc. Now, what should I do to get rid of that habit? Because YouTube is a good medium. Now, to use that medium for something good, I also need to get past something that is holding me back, that negative aspects of it. How do I do that? First is keep a time limit. That is, first make sure that the shorts do not take up so much time. When I open it, I'm going to get those kind of shots. I need to get rid of that. How do I get rid of that? I need to say, this is not my interest. This is not my interest. If I keep doing that, it will reduce the feed. So I mean, it won't end the feed, it will reduce the feed. Now, when I have reduced the feed, then I see, maybe I see the first video, first shot, and then the second shot, and then the third shot. The feed lacks. If I keep scrolling again, then what happened? New feed picks up. I've emptied my feed now. Now what I'm going to do? I'm going to concentrate on the content that I want. That when I have done that, when I start cultivating that, it is reducing my time on that shot, limiting it. There is also a feature where in the YouTube itself we can mark that so many minutes that screen time at a time we are allowed to be exposed to, etc., etc. So like this, limiting our screen time, then what would happen is, once we start getting accustomed to that limited screen time, we would directly focus on what we need immediately, because there is a limitation. So then I would focus more on getting some video that I like or what I want. So when I have started detachment, and then when I get decentering, when I reach decentering, that is when I'm able to watch the content that I want without getting stuck in that loop of shorts, then I have achieved decentering. Or when I have sought a different source for my content, that is also decentering. Then disengagement, it should not bother me when I see the notifications that so this thing has come, channel has posted, whatever it may be, this has come. So reaching a level of disassociation is extremely difficult, but the 3 steps involved actually helps us a lot. So that is detachment, decentering, and disengagement. So these 3 processes help us with this attaining the state of disassociation. So when we reach that state of disassociation, what happens is, we have actually helped ourselves in acceptance and commit. There is something called as acceptance and commitment therapy, where it helps us to keep up the commitments. It encourages detachment from negative thoughts, and it promotes our our positive psychological flexibility. That means getting ourselves accustomed to adversities, immediately changing our thoughts. So this and cultivating mindfulness and then the regulation of a certain positive, certain emotion, not even positive, regulation of a certain emotion, because when we are stuck in a certain loop, we tend to lose track of our emotions. That so this benefit is that it brings about very good resilience within us and emotional regulation and a good mental health. So it is, again, disassociation is not avoidance. That is not if somebody is watching shorts, I'm not going to walk away from them. No, disassociation is not to be bothered by it. That means it is not to allow my pravritti to get into that particular emotional trap. That is something that we need to understand. Again, this doesn't mean that we shouldn't watch the shorts or anything like that. When we understand that there is an addictive problem, to control that, this method should be used. So this is disassociation in positive psychology, one of the insights from Sri Rama Gita. स्वस्ति प्रजाभ्यः प्रतिपालयन्तां न्यायेन मार्गेण महीमहीषा गोब्राह्मणेभ्यो शुभमस्तु नित्यं लोकाः समस्ताः सुखिनो भवन्तु कायेन वाचा मनसेन्द्रियैर्वा बुद्ध्यात्मना वा प्रकृते स्वभावात् करोमि यद्यत् सकलं परस्मै नारायणायेति समर्पयामि।